You spend months locking in a productive routine until you execute it without thinking. And that is exactly when you stop getting better. Building automatic routines is the core of everything we've discussed so far. But eventually, running your life entirely on autopilot starts to work against you. When a behavior becomes second nature, your brain stops monitoring the details. You perform the task with less effort, but you also allow small, unconscious mistakes to accumulate because you are no longer looking for them. A beginner learning a guitar chord is hyper-aware of every finger placement. A decade later, that same musician can play chords while conversing, but that comfort often means they haven't improved their technique in years. Habits allow you to handle the basics without conscious thought, but they only provide the foundation. Mastery requires you to build on top of those habits, not just repeat them. This chart shows the internal trade-off of learning. As you repeat a behavior, it gains automaticity until it crosses the dashed habit line. After this, the curve flattens. Your brain optimizes the behavior for efficiency, no longer expending energy to increase your skill level. To break through this ceiling, you have to introduce deliberate practice. This means consciously reintroducing effort into a routine that has become too easy. This is the formula for elite performance. Habits plus deliberate practice equals mastery. Start by mastering a foundational skill until it reaches the first plateau of automaticity. Once locked in, use it as a platform for the next level. Each new tier of performance requires you to intentionally disrupt your comfort and build a more difficult habit. Progress stalls when the routine becomes so comfortable that you stop noticing the errors. Success at one level can easily become the ceiling that prevents you from reaching the next. This mechanical plateau eventually creates a psychological one. When a behavior is so automatic that you no longer think about it, you stop viewing it as something you do and start viewing it as who you are. This is the identity lock. The rigid beliefs you use to build a habit can become a barrier when your circumstances change. If you define yourself solely by a specific routine, you lose the ability to adapt. An athlete who defines their entire self-worth by their ability to run may face a crisis after a permanent injury. Because their identity is locked to a single activity, they may fail to transition into other forms of health and movement. To keep improving over decades, you have to be willing to unlearn old traits. Progress requires you to constantly edit your self-image to match your current goals. Top performers avoid this trap by using a system of reflection and review to maintain their self-awareness. Comedian Chris Rock performs small, unannounced sets to test new material. He records every performance and reviews the audience's reactions to see exactly which jokes need to be cut or refined. He doesn't trust his routines to stay funny on their own. Without regular review, you will eventually drift away from your standards without noticing. Conscious reflection is how you ensure your identity and your habits stay aligned. Habits give you the foundation to grow, but conscious awareness gives you the flexibility to change directions when the path stops working. Start by scheduling a recurring review session. Use this time to audit your routines and check if your results are still matching your expectations. Second, keep your identity flexible. Attach your self-worth to overarching traits like being resilient or a learner, rather than specific, narrow tasks. This allows you to pivot your habits without losing your sense of self. Third, increase the friction of your systems as your skill grows. If a habit has become so easy that you can do it half asleep, it is time to add a new layer of difficulty. The 4 laws of behavior change aren't a setup you finish. They are tools for a continuous process of system maintenance. You rotate through them to find the next bottleneck, making the right move obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. Look at the habits you've built over the course of this series. Which one has become too comfortable? If you need a refresher on how to disrupt your current plateau, you can watch the full playlist here to